Welcome everybody, welcome to my channel. It's Tuesday today. No, I'm lying to you. It's Saturday today, but I'm filming this for next Tuesday, which is Tag Tuesday, as you all know. My name is Rainer. This is Rainierbooks. I am a booktuber from Stockholm, Sweden, actually from Mönchengladbach, Germany, but I am living in Stockholm, Sweden. I've lived here for many years, and today I do the Efftup tag. I was tagged by Courtney Farrader, and I'm doing the Efftup Book Tag today. So let's get started with the video. Courtney has tagged me. This is an original tag by Daniel from Guilty Feet, and I understand that the original tag video is not longer there because I wanted to see it and I couldn't. A book that was effed up in a good way is the first question. I had to think quite a while about all the questions, actually, because you can sort of answer them this way, you can answer them that way, and it's difficult, it's not easy. But finally, I would say that a book, I didn't even choose a book, I chose a series, I chose a trilogy, and I chose the trilogy by Don Winslow about the war on drugs, consisting of the novels The Power of the Dog from 2005, The Cartel from 2015, and The Border from 2019. If you haven't read anything by Don Winslow, or if you don't know Don Winslow yet, he's, I think, 65 years old, something like that. He's a very rich author. He has sold millions and millions of books. I found out that he has published 21 novels. I have only read his trilogy on the war on drugs, these 3 books, nothing else. And he has, I have to say, he has meticulously researched the history about the war on drugs, about the United States' role in it, about Mexico, about Colombia, about the countries in between that are important for the transport of drugs into the United States, into the rest of the world. And he has he's telling this story in 3 novels that circle around two men who were actually very good friends in the start. We have the DEA agent Art Keller, who is half Mexican, and we have the drug lord Adan Barrera, who is the king of the cartels. And Barrera is a fictitious character. He's sort of composed out of 3 existing characters. One of them, the very famous and infamous El Chapo Guzman. Another one is Benjamin Felix, and the third one is Amado Carrillo Fuentes, who is called the King of the Air or something like that. Winslow has, why are these novels effed up? Because they contain so much violence, they contain no real sympathetic characters, just a few characters, but not the main protagonists. They are, I think, not nice people, not even Art Keller, who is full of hate and revenge feelings, understandable revenge feelings towards Adan Barrera. But this depicts a lot of violence, and I think that Winslow has done a great job, and that's why it's effed up in a good way, in researching all this and telling us the story. Some people blame Mexico and its cartels for poisoning the United States and the world. There was a president in the United States who wanted to build a wall to Mexico to sort of not only stop the people but also stop the drugs. But Winslow makes it very clear that we all should look for what is wrong in our societies, what is wrong in our world, because people take drugs because they want to sort of ease the pain. They want to go somewhere else. They want to escape a reality that is not very nice to them. If there wasn't pain, if there wasn't despair and poverty, if there wouldn't be a demand to use and sell, if there wasn't a huge demand in our effed up societies, these people from the cartels would not be able to rule, because they wouldn't get so filthy rich and couldn't employ so many people. There's so much, in these 3 novels, there's so much blood and violence. It's very graphic descriptions from time to time, but if you have seen news, videos, or read in the newspapers about what happens in Mexico, for example, in the outcomes of cartel crimes, you know that what Don Winslow is describing here in a very graphic way is reality, and sometimes it's even worse in reality. For example, there's a kidnapping and mass murder of 43 students in Iguala in the province of Guerrero in Mexico. That is a part of the book that also happened in real. 43 students were kidnapped or put on a bus, and they were all killed by police and cartel members. Second question. A book that was effed up in a bad way. What does that mean? Is that a book where an author had certain intentions, but he sort of effed up and came up with something completely different that's almost laughable? Or is that an award? Is there an award for the worst book of the year? Like in the movies, we have not only the Oscars, the Academy Award that is handed out in Hollywood, we also have the Golden Raspberry for the worst films of the year. The Razzies, as they're called. No, there's no award. I actually looked it up for bad books, but many booktubers and bloggers, they do make videos or write about the worst reads of the year that they have. I haven't done that, but I found actually the one and only Steve Donahue, who's one of the big stars on BookTube, published a list of the 10 worst reads of 2020 on the blog Open Letters Review that he runs together with Britta Böhler and Sam Sachs, as you might know. And his number 7 worst novel of 2020 is the only one that I read from his top 10 of the worst novels of 2020, and that was Brandon Taylor's novel Real Life, that really divided BookTube, as you might know. I DNF'd it. I thought it was boring, and Steve wrote, and I can nothing but agree with him, that this book has a certain pomposity and that it's hysterically overwritten. So that should qualify to be a book in an effed up bad way, right? Third, a book that everyone loved but that you think is effed up. I think there's no book that everyone loves, okay? However, I thought about it, and I have mentioned this book very negative here in my videos, and I have to do it again. I'm so sorry. It's American Dirt by Janine Cummins. It came in, as I looked it up, as number 21 at Amazon. It's best-selling books of 2020, and Oprah Winfrey loved it, called it a book that makes Americans understand the dire situation of Latinx people who are trying to come as refugees to the United States. Oprah Winfrey loved it, and I didn't. I think it's effed up. It uses stereotypes of people. It's not much more than Hollywood and seems to be far away from reality. Hundreds of thousands of readers like the book. I still think it's a waste of time. Another one that I haven't read is, or might be, 50 Shades of Grey, a book that sold millions of copies all over the world, but I never bought or even borrowed it from a library. I read the first page once in a bookshop, and I thought it was so badly written that it confirmed all my worst fears for this book. So here you have 2 books. A sexy A Efftup, okay? What is a sexy Efftup book? But I come up with, because I recently read the buddy read with Courtney Faraday, who tagged me for this video, and together with Courtney, I read The Secret Lives of Church Ladies, and there's a short story, the second one in the volume actually, that is called Not Daniel. And this is a story about a man and a woman who have mothers who are very close to their death in a hospice. They both, man and woman, visit their respective mothers, are sad and serious, and rush back to one of their cars in order to have sex on the back seat of their Buick or whatever car they drive after every visit. So sometimes feeling guilt about just having met their dying parent, and now they are succumbing to their fleshly desires, and that I would call sexy effed up. Yes, definitely. Woo! Number 5, effed up for kids. Effed up for kids? Do publishers publish Efftup books for kids? What is meant in the question? Do you mean books that parents hate to read to their kids, but the kids come every day, every night and say, "Mom, Dad, please read that book for me." And Dad says, "Okay, I read that book for you, but it's totally effed up." Or is that a book that it's effed up for kids, but the parents come and want to read them? Say like, "Christopher, I think you should read this very interesting and beautiful book, although you might think it's effed up." Possible. We have 2 possible solutions for that. But then I actually thought about when my kids were little, when my kids were small, and we had a book for certain reasons, which I'm not going to explain in detail here. In Sweden, we have a book called Bajsboken, which literally translated into English would mean poop book. And this is a book, it was very popular in the library. Poop it's a book about, well, poop. Poop in all forms. Poop, animal poop, human poop, whatever. Pooping as a child, pooping as an adult, and it's supposed to teach kids to understand that they will poop a lot in their lives and that pooping is one of the greatest and most beautiful things on earth, and it's very normal. So this book was effed up for me, actually, because I was reading this and the children actually loved it, at least in the age of, I think, 3, 4, something like that. But I thought it was really effed up. I have read it, I have not reviewed it, and used it some years ago. Number 6, an Efftup classic. And that is pretty easy because always when I think of Efftup classics, whenever I don't think so much about Efftup classics, but when I do, at times, for example, for filming this tag, I would think of the great Edgar Allan Poe, because he must have been an Efftup person, this great guy, I think from Boston, Massachusetts, because almost every story that I read a couple of stories by Edgar Allan Poe, are starting with this one beautiful sentence, I am not mad. This is the Black Cat, I think. It seems like a standard sentence, and I think that Poe is an Efftup classic author with a lot of his works. Efftup in translation. I pass here, I think, because, wait a minute. Yes, there is one book in translation that is really effed up, and here is something that you should write down and that you should get and you should read. This is a novel, a Japanese novel. I think it's about 140, 150 pages only. I read this years ago, and this is called In the Miso Soup by Ryo Murakami, translated by Ralph McCarthy, published in 2006. This is a novel about a guy called Kenji. Kenji is living in the beautiful city of Tokyo. I love Tokyo. I've been there twice, and I would love to go there again. Okay, fantasies. In comes Frank. No, not in comes Frank, but what is Kenji doing in Tokyo? He is a tour guide, but he's not the guy who shows you the shopping district of Shinjuku or who shows you the beautiful palaces of the different sort of emperors that Japan has had, or the gardens, or the Buddhas. No. Kenji is a guy mostly recruited by men from the United States, actually, and he is guiding guys through the red light districts of Tokyo. There is actually one red light district of Tokyo which I haven't seen. But this red light district is really on certain levels, and this is sort of interesting, but it's also effed up, because there are very soft sex bars. There are women sitting in their underwear and they drink drinks with men who pay them and who pay for the drinks, of course. But nothing more happens. That's all that happens in these bars. And that's where Kenji starts when Frank comes in, an overweight American who wants to see the red light district of Tokyo. That's where they start, but then they go on, and because there are several levels of, it gets harder and harder and harder each night and every day, and there are several levels of bars. So Kenji very soon realizes that something is wrong with this guy Frank. He is fat, he's middle-aged, but he seems to be a very dangerous man somehow. Kenji has a very bad feeling about Frank. And Frank, Kenji thinks that Frank is nothing but a serial killer. And Frank finds that out. He realizes that Kenji is scared of him. And then they go out one night, but Kenji goes out with him because he thinks that if I abandon him, then he will come and get me. So Kenji goes out with him, and this third or fourth night when they go out is really a very, very special night. Oh my gosh. Reader discretion is advised. This gets very violent and very graphic. But I loved the book somehow. It's Pulp Fiction, it's Coen Brothers, it's Cormac McCarthy at its best, but in Asia and in Japan. So if you have strong nerves, if you can read even the scenes with blood and violence, go and read this book. In the Miso Soup by Ryo Murakami. Number 8, Efftup NonFiction. The topic must be Efftup or the book itself. I didn't understand that first, but then I come to a thing that we have in Germany, probably also in the English and every language, we have memoirs of, I would say, B or C celebrities, as we would call them in Germany. And there was a program on German television that was called Nicht-Gedanken, which would be translated into no thoughts, although the word Nicht-Gedanken doesn't exist. And there was a German comedian that I adore, Oliver Kalkofe. He was reading from the autobiographies of celebrities, of these B celebrities or C celebrities, as if they were works of the highest literary class, and he ridicules those very bad books by doing so, by reading them as he would sort of meet hundreds of people who want to listen to a great author. So non-thoughts is a play with words, because the existing word is called Nachtgedanken, which is night thoughts, and there was also a show called Night Thoughts in Germany where someone else read very beautiful texts in the German language. But non-thoughts, Oliver Kalkofe he was reading from rap star Bushido's autobiography, from actor and model Helmut Berger's biography, and many others. Texts full of misogyny and narcissism. A text about Helmut Berger, where Berger, in his own autobiography, is writing about when he was one of the most good-looking men in the world, probably. And then he was invited to the first he was invited to Monaco, to the royal couple there in Monaco, and as a guest of honor, but he had used apparently so much cocaine that he had problems with his poop muscle. That's not the poop muscle, but yeah, and certain things happened during that dinner with him that are not pretty smelly and pretty graphic, and he is writing that in his autobiography, which is one of the most embarrassing things that could happen in a life, you know. And then Oliver Kalkofe is reading that. You should see that. Unfortunately, the videos are not longer on the internet. So, but these biographies, I would say, are non-fiction works that are totally effed up. Number 9, I pass. That's the question for the illustrated Efftup. I really pass. And number 10 is Hanya Yanagihara's A Little L Efftup, a book that is just misery porn, solely designed to convince you how effed up the world is. Well, I would call misery porn a book where someone writes about an important social issue without actually having any kind of interest of contributing to solve problems or to helping the cause. So I would say that I don't read books like that, except for I read one, and that was recurring to the third or fourth question, American Dirt by Janine Cummins. That was for me actually misery porn, since both the author, the book, and the publisher tried to milk as much money as possible from this work without really aiming to help the people of Latin America who desperately risk their lives in order to survive. I say misery porn I call that misery porn if an author, and that's what Janine Cummins did, paints her nails in the same colored barbed wire that's on the cover of the book. If the publisher has a presentation of the book where they build up a wall with barbed wire, and this was really bad stuff. So, that was the 10th question, and now I am supposed to tag some of you to do the Efftup tag if you haven't done it already. I haven't checked that. So I'm tagging Margaret Pinard from her beautiful channel, Dane Reeds, I'm tagging Sarah from Freshly Read Books, and I'm tagging Nika at Pretty Little Bibliophile. Would love to see you doing the tag, but everyone else is also welcome to do the tag. Thanks very much for watching this video. It's Tuesday today. No, it's actually Saturday, but it's Tuesday when you see this. So there will be another video coming on Thursday, actually, with a literary award that I want to present to you. Thanks very much for watching this. I hope that everyone is safe, that you are vaccinated if you are in the UK and Canada or in the US, because there's so many vaccines out there. Tell me if you got the vaccine out there. I know a couple of my friends on BookTube who have already gotten it, and I'm so happy for you. We have to wait for weeks and months to come and have to isolate a little bit more, but we try our best. Thanks very much. See you soon, and bye-bye.